We are live today here with one of our advanced inner circle clients, Brian Gaines. And we're going to basically go over some things that we taught him, some different questions we taught him, and nuances and tonality and body language that is quite literally taking him from zero in commissions about 6 months ago to now over 30,000 a month in commissions 6 months later. We're going to talk about how that will work for you watching us right now, no matter the industry you're in. Okay, we train 158 different industries at this point, including Brian's. According to Forbes, guess how many industries there are? There are 158 with different subsets. We are actually in all of those at this point. So this is going to be quite an interview. For those of you who showed up, because I know it's like Christmas time and people are just running around like chickens with their head cut off in Santa Claus land. So I didn't know how many people would show up to this live. I didn't even know if I should do a live today, but here we are. All right, Brian, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. Doing really good.
You're doing good? All right, let me see who we got on here. I'm going to post something there. All right, perfect. All right, so we're going to go over like 3 or 4 different things that we've taught you to do, some different questions to ask. Now, if you're brand new to the Facebook group, okay, because we're going live in the Facebook group Sales Revolution. We got about 42,000 of you in there. The Facebook business page, there's about 80,000 of you on that. Follow me around. YouTube now, we just got verified on YouTube a while ago. Love YouTube. Then we're going live on LinkedIn and my personal Facebook. So we're going live on 5 platforms at the same time. If you are brand new to following me, I'm the founder of 7th Level. We are a sales training organization that trains salespeople like Brian, like you watching me right now. We train sales professionals like you, sales executives like you, sales management like you, leadership, entrepreneurs, consultants, coaches, business owners, and we help you and your teams, I would say, well, like our clients would say, transform the way you sell by learning specific skilled questions and techniques that work with human behavior rather than work against it. Now, that might be important to understand if you are triggering sales resistance by what you're saying or not asking, okay? Because once you learn how to not trigger sales resistance, as Brian will show you, selling becomes much, much easier and you make like 5 times more than what you are now. It actually becomes really easy at that point, okay? So we're going to talk about that. It's called NEPQ. That stands for Neuro-Emotional Persuasion Questions with the right tone, okay? Because certain parts of your sales process, some of your questions need to be asked in more of a skeptical tone, like challenging. Some of them need to be asked more of a curious tone, like you're curious about something. And then some need to be asked in more of a concerned tone, a tone that has more empathy. Well, do you know which questions that tone should be used in? Because if you don't, that means you're losing sales that you could be making. Okay, I want everybody to understand that, all right? Now, if you want to start making your first 10 grand a month in commissions with what you sell, or your first 15 or 20, I'm saying monthly, or like you want to be like Brian and now start making over 30,000 a month, 35, 40,000, 50,000 a month, because Brian's still learning. He's still in our program. I'm assuming he doesn't want to just make 30 to 35. He probably wants to make 40 or 50, right? So if you want to acquire those skills, okay, make sure you message me directly right now. So if you're on LinkedIn, message me directly right now. If you're in the Facebook group, message me directly right now. If you're on my Facebook or the business page, message me directly. If you're on YouTube, that platform doesn't allow you to message me directly, so you'll need to join the Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro, okay? Now, for each of you, I want you to grab your phone, okay, because I know you guys are all on your phone watching this, and I want you to go down to the bottom, and I want you to post hashtag live. So I want to see each of you post hashtag live in the comments section. I'm not gonna have Brian share with you some of these, well, I don't want to call them secrets, but they are secrets if you're not one of our clients, so you could sell more without seeing a bunch of hashtag lives. So you better post hashtag lives if you want me to ask Brian any questions, or I'm going to go out and golf. It's 64 degrees today here in Scottsdale. So I want to see hashtag lives. If you're on the replay, post hashtag replay. So if you're on the live, post hashtag live. And if you're on the replay, post hashtag replay. And then I want you to go smash the heart button and smash the like button. So go smash the heart button, smash the like button several times, all right? All right, Brian, let's talk about you. All right, so first question I always ask any client from any industry is, were you born out of your mother's womb having advanced questioning and advanced tonality skills?
I wish, but no, that is not the case.
You're not born out of your mother's womb having advanced tonality and advanced questioning skills. Now, were you born out of your mother's womb with advanced objection handling and prevention skills?
Fortunately, not at that either.
Well, none of us are, right? That's the point. So those are acquired skills that anyone watching can acquire if you choose to, or you can choose not to acquire, right? All right, so you chose to acquire skills. So let's talk about your background in sales, because you just got into sales, what, 6-7 months ago?
Totally brand new to sales. Yeah.
So what did you do before? I don't even know. What did you do before you started selling?
I was a lab manager.
A lab manager. What is a lab manager?
So more specifically, it was a cannabis lab.
Okay.
Doing like R&D development, product development.
Okay. And so you're a lab manager. What caused you to be like, you know what, I'm going to get into sales now?
Well, I just wanted a total change of career path. I kind of felt a glass roof where at my current position, I didn't really see myself going much higher. And I was, looking on, different websites to find a new job, and I came across pool sales. I have a background in landscape, horticulture, and design, so it kind of came full circle and came back to what I went to college.
You're like, I know how to design stuff, so I'm going to get into sales, because if I could just craft the perfect design, everybody's going to buy. Was your thinking?
That was my thinking, yeah.
You're like, I'm really good at design. I'm going to show them the design, and everybody's just going to pay, and I'm going to make all this money. So you got in there, and what type of sales training did this company give you?
Pretty much nothing. It was pretty much just, okay, we have this design software, which is really amazing 3-dimensional software.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like where it stopped. Like, it was my supervisor pretty much was just say, gotta close the next guy.
Just go close them. Just go close them. All right. So that's definitely a winning strategy, by saying, just go close them. We're not going to show you how, because we don't know, but just go close them. Always be closing. It's somehow magically going to work out. So that first month before you got into NEPQ, so this is before you knew anything about us.
Yep.
Well, what did you notice from your prospects when you went out there and made all these cool designs? Were they just all signing up and paying, or what happened?
Didn't have any sales the first month. And it wasn't until halfway into my second month where I finally made a sale.
Okay. So it wasn't working that well.
It was not.
Yeah. Okay. So what caused you to be like, you know what? I need to learn more advanced skills. Like, what went through your mind that was like, I need to learn how to really do this effectively? What happened?
Well, I had come across you on Instagram several times, and it just like really sparked my interest. Like,
okay. So you saw a reel or something, one of the little free nibbles we give out, little basic stuff. Okay.
Exactly. So, so I reached out, and, I was a little skeptical, like, how could it, how can it work? Or, and
how can more advanced training work for what I sell? It won't work for pools.
Yeah. Or, it seemed too good to be true.
Okay.
I've never heard that before, but
you got into the training, and you went right to the top. You got into like our advanced inner circle, right?
Yep.
What caused you to skip the other training programs and go right to like the most advanced training program we have?
Well, I'm 36, and I just wanted to I didn't want to slowball it. I just wanted to go right to the top, get all the training I can, and
So you didn't want to like just keep losing sales for years trying to figure it all out. You'd rather just make sales like next week.
Exactly.
Probably more of a winning strategy for sure. All right. So you got into advanced inner circle. You started learning, connecting questions and the situation questions. And in advanced inner circle, that's industry specific, where we teach you how to apply NEPQ to your specific industry, mainly from the group training. We also have an option where, we let 8 to 10 people a month come into Boxer. After that, it gets capped. Usually it's capped after about 2 weeks. So you even got me on Boxer. Let's say a month after that, what did you start to notice from your prospects that was different from before NEPQ days?
They definitely opened up more. They were just, more willing to kind of tell me a little bit more about themselves, about what they wanted. I knew better questions to ask them to kind of
to trigger them to want to
trigger.
engage, right? Okay, so let's fast forward because you went from like zero to hero really quickly. This month, your biggest month, 6 months after you got into the training, you finally cracked 30,000 commissions in 1 month. What do you think? Tell me, like, what happened? What was the thing that just clicked for you finally, where you went? Because you were starting to make 10, and then 12, and then 15. Getting up there to 20, then all of a sudden you just catapulted to 30. So what was the difference? What started finally clicking that got you there from what we're training you?
I think the biggest, and it seems like the simplest piece of advice is the verbal cue question. It seems simple, but
Tell everybody what that means, because if they're not one of our clients, they would have no idea what the hell that means.
yeah, so it's like a conversational technique, I guess you'd call it, where, between each question or even while the prospect is talking, you give little verbal noises like, or okay, or like noises like that it just
it feels like it feels like it tells the prospect you're listening, so they feel like you understand what's going on. And then right before your next question, you do another verbal cue that bridges into the next question, so it doesn't sound scripted, it sounds natural. So if we're sitting here talking, I'm like, just start talking real quick about something.
So, I'm doing some Christmas shopping, and I got my kids' Christmas presentation or pageant later. So,
oh, you do?
Yeah. So,
okay. So walk me back. What time does the Christmas pageant start? So that's an example. I know that's kind of a cheesy example, but as the prospect is talking and you're listening and you're going, okay. But when you said blank, what did you mean by that? See, that verbal cue I just used before that was, but when you said, see, that verbal cue leads into my next question. That's called bridging. Okay. That's called NEPQ bridge. We have to bridge from question to question. If you don't know how to bridge with your tone and those little verbal cues, your questions will sound scripted. And that's what triggers your prospect to emotionally shut down, because they feel like you're interrogating them. They feel like your questions are just there for self-serving purposes so you can like get information to sell them. When you're bridging from question to question with verbal cues, it makes it sound so natural. It makes them feel like they're talking to a friend or their grandparents or their spouse or their kids, that they just lose track of time. They open up, they become engaged, and they're right in the middle of the conversation, and you have complete control of where you're directing that. So how has that helped you, Brian, make more income?
Well, it basically triggers the prospect to open up more, because it allows me to ask my questions that don't.
And this is still a work and art for you. I mean, you were just on the training call on Monday. I'm like, dude, you're missing this bridge, and you're not doing this here, and like, because now that you're over 30 grand a month in commissions, like just even with those tweaks I'm showing you now, that can take you up to 45 a month pretty easily, and then even higher. What is the average salesperson make in your industry? Do you know?
In my industry?
Yeah.
Not quite sure.
I know what it is. I looked it up. Do you want to know?
I'm just going to guess 6 to 10.
No, it's $5,487. Wow. That's what the average salesperson makes in your industry. Just so you know, those are like people who've been doing it for a while. Okay. So you're already up over 30,000 a month. So well done. But you can make probably double that in your industry.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm literally just scratching the surface. I mean, I really do.
Okay. Because I always say that, because I always look up what the average person makes, because every week we interview somebody in a different industry that we train that's always making at least 30 grand a month, 40 grand a month now, that like you sometimes made zero when they started here. They couldn't sell anything. And people are like, oh, it must be the industry. No, it's not the industry. The average person makes here, yet Brian in 6 months is making here. Well, what's the difference? He's calling the same amount of people. He's talking to the same type of leads. It's not like his boss gives him all the good leads and nobody else gets any. They just get all the crap leads. So it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with your sales ability. The questions you've learned how to ask that disarms the prospect, that triggers them to want to open up and engage. Let's give them a few questions here before we get off here in the next 10 minutes. So before NEPQ, and I realized you were only selling for like 5 or 6 weeks before you started learning NEPQ. But what was like some of the first things you would say or questions out of your mouth that you kind of, were trying to figure out on your own? Like now, not connecting questions you know now, but what were you trying to do before to
I
connect?
mean, like the first phone call to the prospects, if I can even remember, I don't exactly even recall what they were because it was such a short period of time, but it was just like, yeah, is Brian Gaines. I hear you're looking for a pool. Like, what do you,
I hear you're looking for a pool.
I don't even recall exactly what I would say.
Well, I remember because you're in the Advanced Inner Circle Platinum Plus, so I have you on Boxer. I remember you're like, yeah, this is what I say when I call him, like, hey, this is, Brian Gaines with XYZ Pool Company. You asked me to call. How are you doing today? That's what you said. It's one of your things. You're like, how are you doing today? Or how's your day going? And I'm like, stop saying, how's your day going? Because every salesperson that's ever tried to sell that prospect anything, from a vacuum cleaner to a car, to a home, to cybersecurity for their company, ask what question in the first 30 seconds? How are you doing today? How's your day going? And here's the problem. Some of you might think that works because some people open up, but you don't know how many people are closing down when you're asking that as well, because they're so used to it. Okay, you sound like everybody else. You sound like just another salesperson. So if they feel you're just like every other salesperson's ever tried to sell them something, do you think that's a good thing for you or bad thing? Probably a really bad thing, because now they just associate you with everybody else. They don't view you they just view you as a salesperson, right? So when we make statements like that, you might as well be saying this, because this is what most of your prospects think when you say, how are you doing today? Or how's your day going? They're thinking, he's just asking me this because he's trying to get me to like him, so I'll buy something from him. That's what goes on in your prospect's mind, just so everybody knows. Even if you don't agree with me, the data shows that. I can show you the data from behavioral science. This has been so researched. You guys have no idea how many deals you lose because of stupid little silly things like that you think you're doing good because you have a few people that open up, but you're having a ton of people that emotionally shut down, even if they don't tell you they are. I mean, they're not going to say I'm emotionally shutting down, but just those little things trigger resistance in a lot of people. Now, you might really want to know how their day's going, but they don't believe you do. They don't think you genuinely want to know how their damn day's going, where they're going to sit there and talk about it for 15 minutes, right? Okay, so we changed that, obviously. What's one good connecting question? Maybe give them an example of a connecting question that we've taught you. Now, for your industry, there's about 4 or 5 that we ask, but maybe just give them an example of one out of those 5 and why you use it.
Yeah, so, so I would say, hey, I'm just curious, like when you talk to my office assistant, Molly, about, when you talk to my office assistant, Molly, she didn't tell me, like, when you saw our website the other day, as far as pools go, like what did you see that really attracted your attention?
And why would you ask that? Why do we teach you how to ask that? What does that do?
Really, it takes the focus off of me and puts it on them.
Immediately, right? And then how do they react to that?
They immediately tell you, what they saw and what attracted the attention to.
Well, I saw this, I saw that, right? So that is one of your first connecting questions you're using. There's others you have to ask after that. You can't just ask that one and like, oh, I'm going to triple my deals, right? So that's one that you have to ask, and it triggers them to basically tell you, but more importantly themselves, why they responded to the ad and why to try to, it already starts to get them in results-based thinking, right? Rather than price-based thinking. Okay. There's other connecting questions you have to ask, but we don't have time. Situation questions. What's a good situation question that we've taught you that you need to ask to help the prospect really find out what their real situation is?
So a typical one I ask is, so can you walk me through? I just have, a few more questions here, and then we could possibly schedule something if you want, but can you walk me through, like, what do you currently do with your backyard?
Yeah, so you're finding out what they're currently doing at the backyard that is, eventually going to have one of your pools in it, right? And can you walk me through as an NEPQ lead-in phrase? So instead of saying, what are you doing with your backyard, which is a little bit more blunt, can you walk me through, can you tell me a little bit more about what you do with the backyard now, just so I understand? Or can you walk me through what you guys use the backyard for now, just so I can get kind of an idea? And that triggers them to what? How do they react to that?
They open up a little bit. They say what their current situation is, like what are they doing with their backyard? What are they not doing with their backyard?
Yeah, it just causes them to open up and engage in a two-way conversation. And that's on your first phone call before you even go out to see them, right? Before you really get to discover it. Now, problem awareness. How do you help them find out what problems they really have, right? Because you're selling a pool. Do pools really solve problems, Brian?
No, they don't. Not
Well,
really.
it depends. It solves a problem and or an emotional need.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of person needs a pool per se. Like they needed to fill a gap, fill a hole essentially.
Yeah, because what are the reasons why somebody would put a pool in their backyard?
A lot of times it's
What does it solve?
Allows the kids to, if they have kids, to have a place for them to be entertained. Brings the family together.
Yeah, allows the kids to be entertained so the kids don't go down the street and they're always gone at their friends' homes. Plus, it allows their kids to bring over their friends, so it's more of like a family atmosphere. It also solves the emotional need of, being able to bring over family and loved ones because they always want to come to the pool. What else does it do?
Yeah, it provides a place to relax, possibly provides therapeutic value.
Yeah, maybe they're elderly and they want to exercise in their pool. So there's many problems and or emotional needs that even a pool solves, believe it or not. I don't think you believe that in the beginning. You're like, I don't know what problems it solves. Well, it solves a lot of problems and emotional needs. So what's a good problem awareness question that we try to ask? Because there's typically about 4 or 5 that you ask for your space. We'll just give an example of just one.
Yeah. So, besides like the obvious fact of, wanting to be able to swim, like what's the main reason why you might be looking to put a pool in the backyard in the first place?
Yeah. And why do we ask that for what you sell?
Because you need to find out more reasons why they want the pool. Like without those,
not just to swim, right? Because if they can only find one reason why they want to change, which that's all selling is just change, why they want to have a pool or want to have a life insurance policy or want to have a new car, or want to have, this new home, or, want to have this, software installed for their company. Like if they only have one reason, far less powerful of a gap than if they have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other reasons why they want to change. So typically when they say that, like when you ask that question, what do they say back?
Typically they'll give me another reason. They'll say, well, can bring the kids home. We're going to have a place where, we can all hang out now. It's a place where I can relax after work.
Yeah.
They start to open up a little bit more.
So now they've given you 2 or 3 other reasons, right? And that's not even, we can even step by more. Now, there's other problem awareness questions you have to ask for your space. That's a good example. What about a solution awareness question? Now that you've helped them find out what the real situation is from situation questions, you've built the gap from your problem awareness questions. Now you got to get them to see what the future is going to look like once this newfound problems are solved. Those are called solution awareness questions. What's one good solution awareness question we've taught you that really gets them to see what their future is going to look like?
Yeah, so for the first half, so before you have me out here today, like were you out there looking for a pool so you can entertain your friends and family?
So you're repeating back the end result of why they want the pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then how do they respond to that? Typically yes or no, or what happens?
Sometimes they're a little closed. Sometimes they don't want to open up, but a lot of them will say, what, actually, I've got these pictures from Instagram that I was looking at, and, they start to show me some more pictures and, more ideas.
Okay. All right, good. There's some other really good solution awareness questions to your space after that, but a consequence question. Now that we've got them to see what the future is going to look like, once the pool is installed, the problem solved, right? We want to rip that away from them where they have to defend themselves on why they have to change. What's a good consequence question we try to ask?
Yeah, so I'll say, all right, there's always 2 sides to the coin. Like, what happens if you don't do anything about this? The kids keep going over to, to your friends, to the friends' houses, and you guys keep, losing out on memories that you could possibly be making in the backyard right here for like the next 5, 10, 15 plus years.
And what do they say?
And some, they say, well, we're going to make a change. We want to put the pool in.
Yeah. And that question really, the tone has to be right on, dead on. So what happens if you guys don't do anything about this? There's always two sides to the coin. I like that. You learned that from Matt. There's always two sides of the coin. What happens if you don't do anything? You don't have the pool back here, and the kids keep going, to the community pool, and you keep missing out on all the family memories. And now all of a sudden they just graduated high school. Like, what happens then? So it's more of a concern tone there when that question. All right, so we don't have time to go through your presentation, like how we structured that. What's a good commitment question that we've tried to ask to get them to close and to take the next step to purchase what you're offering, the pool?
So, like what specific part about having this pool, that we just went over, like, is really going to get you what you're wanting out of a pool?
Why do you ask that? Why do we teach you how to ask that specific question? Why is it so important?
It's kind of a probing question to really find out the why they want the pool.
Yeah, because they tell you what aspects of the pool design and everything you've already went over them in the showroom is going to get them the look, the feel that they want, like the feel, the look, right? Like what aspects of the pool do you feel is really going to give you that look, that feel that you want everybody to feel when they come over to your house? Oh, I really like this part, and I like this part. It's hard for them to back out of that once they start saying all that to you and themselves, right? Okay, any last words of advice? We're going to keep this short today because I know everybody's on Christmas break. I've run around trying to buy last-second presents. I was debating on if I should even go live today. Any last words of advice for maybe any newbies that are getting into sales, or even vets that might already be making 10 or 15 grand a month? What words of advice would you give them?
I'd say really internalize the questions, from your structure, because the more you can internalize it, the more that allows you to listen to your prospect and not think about your next.
What am I going to ask next?
Yeah, because as soon as you start doing that, you don't hear anything that they said.
Yeah, you're always thinking, well, what do I need to ask next? And then it becomes like contrived and scripted. It doesn't sound natural. But if you have your questions memorized, and they're actually questions that actually work, I'm not talking about consultative questions like, can you tell me 2 problems that keep you awake at night? Everybody's heard that 15 billion times, okay? But questions that actually trigger them to want to engage, which those are all in our virtual training courses and group training. And you do that with the right tone, and you know how to bridge from question to question with verbal cues. Selling becomes pretty easy. So I want to congratulate you. Now, I always ask this question: is your spouse happy that you got into the training?
She definitely is, especially after last month.
Okay. All right. Good for you. I know we're doing our jobs if the spouses are happy, because you guys put funding into this, but you make 100-fold back. So congratulations. And the cool thing is, yeah, you're now up over 30 grand a month in commissions, but I can assure you with what you're still learning and where you're at, because I know you, I'm in the inner circle with you. You can quite literally make double what you are right now.
Looking forward to it. It's been a great ride so far.
All right. Good man. All right, everybody. Thanks for being on here. Now, we will go live tomorrow only in the Facebook group to answer questions. We'll do a Q&A at 6 p.m. Eastern. So if you're on YouTube or if you're on LinkedIn or my Facebook, you'll probably want to join the Facebook group if you want to get your questions answered. So I'll have somebody on the team maybe post this to you. Just go to www.salesrevolution.pro. So go to salesrevolution.pro and join the Facebook group if you want to ask me a question on the live tomorrow. So we're only going to go live in the Facebook group, I'm pretty sure. Sometimes I'll go live on LinkedIn and YouTube, but a lot of times I won't. The salesrevolution.pro, that's where you go live all the time. Now, you want to start acquiring skills like Brian, that went from 0 in commissions to now over 34 grand a month in commissions in 5 months after the training. Message me directly right now. Okay, it doesn't matter your industry. I can assure you we are training salespeople in your industry watching me right now that make 2, 3, 5, even 10 times what you are right now, even if you are already doing good. I can assure you, okay? All right, so message me directly right now if you're in the Facebook group. If you're on the Facebook page, my Facebook or LinkedIn, message me directly right now. If you're on YouTube, you'll have to join the Facebook group to message me because you can't do that on YouTube's platform. You can't message there, from what I understand anyways. All right, everybody. Brian, thanks. Congratulations. And I'll see you on the Advanced Inner Circle call in 10 minutes.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow. Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here, Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're gonna help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.